We have Bitcoin, which had bounced early in the day, but you know what happens, right? When the stock market sells, it's very hard for Bitcoin to hold its gains. It is down, although it has not taken out yesterday's lows. So there's a small positive there, even with price being down.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. Gareth Soloway breaks down Bitcoin's drop below $80,000, analyzing key support levels, market trends, and what's next for BTC. Will it recover or fall further? Let's dive in and find out.
A market that will scare most people. I would encourage you to not get scared. That's an emotional reaction. Instead, start to look at the charts, analyze the charts, use logic, use probability, because again, some of the best trades I've ever had in my career have come from panic sell-offs, where if you know where to step up, you don't get scared. Most people, when markets are dumping out, they're too scared to step up at these levels, right? But again, if you look at logic and technical analysis, you can make these determinations, putting yourself in a position to make significant amounts of money. And again, as we all know, there's no guarantees, but it's about starting small. I always start small with my initial entry, understanding panic can push things lower than you think, and then the bounce comes in. And again, that's what we do on a daily basis with swing trades and with day trades. And I want to be clear, nothing I talk about here is where is a long-term investor's dream. If you're a long-term investor, I love that you're tuning in. But to be honest, this is swing trading and day trading. This is more action-packed. This is making alpha both on the upside and on the downside. Long-term investing, you invest in your favorite companies. You walk away for 20 years. Awesome. Overall, this is where the money's made, though, in my opinion, in the short term, at least income generation. All right, let's go back to Bitcoin here. Let's go back to the big board, and we'll see what we have here. On the big board, we have Bitcoin, which had bounced early in the day, but you know what happens, right? When the stock market sells, it's very hard for Bitcoin to hold its gains. It is down, although it has not taken out yesterday's lows. So there's a small positive there, even with price being down. Overall, though, what do we know? We know that this was a level we were watching up here. This was a level down here. It has now broken and confirmed. Therefore, path of least resistance, while you might get a little bit of a bounce, eventually, likely, probability-wise, takes us down to the 74-ish thousand, give or take. Once we get there, that's going to be a big level. That's the previous high going back to March of 2020. That should be a level where we see a significant bounce. Again, should being the key word there, and we'll watch and see. But I would probably swing trade that. That'll be a swing trade for me that I look to take with my crypto crew in the service. All right, couple other things here. We'll go to gold real quick. Gold also had selling. Now, gold is overbought. So, again, we got to watch that. Let me just bring up the correct chart here on gold. There we go. Gold, again, coming down. I still think there's a chance we could correct here. I don't think this is like a bear market starting for gold. It's just a pullback after an extended period of almost nonstop upside. Again, got close to 3,000. But if you think about it, everyone was probably waiting for 3,000 to hit. So, therefore, it doesn't. It's going to pull back first, wiping out the weak hands, the people that kind of bought right up here and are like, oh, this will be easy money to get it to go to 3,000. No. There's no such thing as easy money in trading. And so the market knows that, and it says, you know what, let me take their money, and it'll push it down. Those people will get panicked right here and exit the trade and take the loss, and then you'll likely get your next wave to the upside. And again, markets have an uncanny way of basically using people's emotion and knowing where the breaking points are within their emotion to push them to the limits. It's just the way the markets are. And honestly, it's something I've experienced many, many times, especially early in my career. And I'm sure many of you guys have experienced that as well.
Ethereum is facing a critical moment as its price nears a 2-year low, dropping to $2,070, its lowest level since early 2024. The decline of 7.4% on February 28 triggered over $200 million in liquidations, adding to market concerns. The past week has been especially tough for Ethereum, with its price plummeting 24.5%, marking its worst 7-day performance since 2022. Traders are closely watching the $2,000 level, as a drop below this point could trigger further declines. Crypto investor Jason Pizzino warns that Ethereum could face even more trouble if it fails to hold above $2,000, potentially leading to a drop toward $1,500. Historical patterns suggest that Ethereum could reclaim key levels soon, but weak market sentiment and bearish technical indicators keep investors cautious. Despite the downturn, data from Glassnode indicates that investors continue accumulating Ethereum at lower prices. If demand recovers, Ethereum has a strong chance of bouncing back and regaining momentum.
Dow down 157. That's not that big of a deal, right? But remember, the Dow is generally a safe haven, right? It's more industrials. It's more, staples, if you will. So that is holding up better. But look at the NASDAQ, down 443 points, 2.3%. The S&P is down over 100 points on the day. Again, 101 points, 1.7%. So this is a bloodbath today, especially considering we opened sharply higher on the day. Maybe not sharply higher, but we were up decently on the back of NVIDIA. It did not hold. It just started to sell off. All right, oil today, take a look right here, up $1.36. So we're seeing a little bit of a bounce in oil here in the last day. And gold also taking a beating, down $41. And Bitcoin right back down to the lows from yesterday, trading below 84,000. Heat map itself, you can see this is technology here. This is technology. All red, basically. I mean, a couple minor greens in the mix there, but for the most part, it is red. It is a bloodbath. Then you go over to things like finance. Finance is doing okay today, right? A little bit of green in the mix there, a little gray, which is around the unchanged. So it's mostly in the technology stocks. And again, most of this is on the back of NVIDIA. And it's not to say NVIDIA's earnings weren't good. They were. They beat on revenue. They beat on earnings. But the problem is they didn't beat by enough. And now investors are looking and saying, where's the next catalyst for the upside? And all we're hearing is we're going to tariff Europe, we're going to tariff Canada, we're going to tariff Mexico, we're going to do this and this. And that's freaking investors out, frankly. And that is, again, causing fear where people say, well, why am I investing in a market with uncertainty? We don't have something positive to look forward to right now, like the NVIDIA earnings. In addition, tomorrow is the PCE inflation data, and that I think is also making people nervous, especially after the GDP price index today showed a sharp incline in inflation there as well. So more and more signals inflation's inching up. Will PCE save the day tomorrow? Otherwise, watch out. It could be a nasty day going into the weekend because there aren't many investors that want to hold long into the weekend if we're not getting any sort of better numbers like PCE tomorrow. All right, let's go to a couple charts here. In fact, right here, guys, this is a big deal. All right, so this is a big deal. We have the S&P breaking a major trend line. This trend line, guys, goes back to 2023. So it's not like a trend line that just goes back 6 months. This one goes back, a year and a half plus, right? So you're looking at a long-term trend up, and there is no doubt at this point that is a break. Now, it hasn't confirmed, granted, but it's not like it's a tiny close below. I mean, this is a massive close below. We're essentially at the lows of the day, closing at the lows of the day. That could mean a gap lower tomorrow, especially depending on those PCE numbers that will come out 8:30. And I will dissect this tomorrow, obviously. All of that data, the current state of the markets at 9 a.m. in the game plan. But right now, guys, again, a big sell-off. S&P closing down 1.6% here. And it's not just the down move here. It's that we opened higher and still sold off. That is very jarring. And the additional close below this major trend line. All right, let's take a look here, guys, and go over to a couple charts. So we already knew the NASDAQ had broken down, so that was already in breakdown mode. So it really shouldn't surprise us that a gap up here today on the back of NVIDIA caused a big sell-off or reverse to the downside. Now, look at where we did close today. If we take a trend line from this low, which is the low in January, and we draw it right across, we are right there. So on the positive side, if there's one small silver lining to be had here, it's that maybe, and we'll find out tomorrow, maybe the PCE data can cause us to get a little bit of a bounce. But either way, we've now broken major uptrends in all the indices here. And this now signals that buying is generally, it's a sell the rip market, not a buy the dip market anymore. And so ultimately, even if we get a bounce tomorrow, I don't think it saves this market. Best case scenario would be a retrace to the scene of the crime, which would be this trend line here. But even that would eventually, in my opinion, based on technical analysis, yield further downside to go. Take a look at NVIDIA today. This is a nasty sell-off. Holy cow, trading at 120 right now. I do have support at 119 coming up here, 119 to 118. So we'll watch that.
Bitcoin's recent correction may not be over yet, with research from Matrixport suggesting that the downturn could extend until April. The cryptocurrency fell below $80,000 on February 27 amid a broader market sell-off, triggered by rising global trade tensions. The stock market also took a hit, with the Nasdaq 100 dropping over 7% in just 5 days, while the S&P 500 and Dow Jones each fell by more than 1%. Analysts at Matrixport believe that macroeconomic trends and central bank policies are playing a significant role in Bitcoin's trajectory, especially as institutional investors increasingly track these factors when trading digital assets. One of the key drivers behind Bitcoin's decline has been the strengthening U.S. dollar. As traders seek safety in the greenback, the U.S. dollar index, DXY, has surged, reaching its highest level in months. This spike in dollar strength, combined with declining global liquidity, has added downward pressure on Bitcoin. The situation escalated further after President Donald Trump announced steep new tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China, intensifying economic uncertainty. With Bitcoin ETF in the U.S. attracting $39 billion since their launch in early 2024, institutional influence has become a major factor in price movements, making traditional market trends even more crucial for crypto traders. Despite the correction, some investors remain optimistic. Social sentiment data shows that buy the dip mentions have spiked to their highest level since mid-2024, suggesting that many traders see this as a buying opportunity. Charles Edwards, founder of Capriole Investment, believes that the current fear and liquidation levels may indicate a short-term bottom. Meanwhile, CryptoCoin CEO Kai-Yon Ju maintains that the bull cycle is still intact, though he warns that a drop below $75,000 could change the outlook. The next few weeks will be critical in determining whether Bitcoin resumes its climb or faces further downside. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoin Zella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.